Hello, everybody. Dave here with Affordable Door and Gate. Little different look today. Let's start off with an email. Tony inspired this live. So thank Tony for the live. He texted me and he's like, "We going live tonight?" I said, "I don't know, should we?" So here we are. I think Tony's watching how to build wood houses or something. He's waiting for the economy to tank out, basically. Okay, so Rusty sent me this. Rusty, I appreciate the email, buddy. And I hope you're all doing good and everything. It says, hey, Dave, checking in from West Pennsylvania. Over 25 years. 25 years. That's a long time. 25 years in business. Family owned and operated. Awesome, man. Congrats on that. That's great. Oh, and thanks for the like. If you guys jump in here, don't forget, hit the like button. Just brings more people in. It's more fun, more entertaining. As SOS say, more party people. Yes, there's been a definite slowdown. So this is interesting. But I like how he puts it. He says, but the people who are serious are still buying doors. Okay. Repairs have not slowed down at all. And people are still paying top dollar if you get there the same day. Ooh. If you get there the same day. See, this is good. This is good. And use quality products. He's got Clopay and LiftMaster. Oh boy. Clopay lead time is very short on most doors, even custom orders. That's awesome. That is awesome. So I'm really glad. It was a short email. Appreciate it, Rusty. Thanks for sharing that. Like I said, I'm glad to hear. I would definitely say that email is very accurate, because I think there is, like I said, I hope it doesn't turn to that whole 06, 07, 08 era again. I hope we don't go down that rabbit hole, at least for that long. But I definitely can see, and I can smell it out there, that the economy is, it's hurting. It's hard for people, man. It's expensive. Food's expensive. Restaurants are expensive, especially if you're working and eating out. You're not bringing in your own lunch and stuff like that, which, hey, I'm guilty of it too. You know what I mean? So, but you know, you guys can always let me know too. Just let me know in the comments. Say, hey, it's going golden here, baby. There's no slowdown. And every demographic's different. I've always felt like, my opinion, I've always felt like the Muskegon area is not a real blustery, huge, like it's a very good indicator. Like I feel like maybe even just Michigan kind of in general, we always can kind of sense the storm before other people. You get some of the people maybe in Cali and Florida, and they're just like, oh, it's gangbusters here, and it's like, okay, and for instance, like when I went down and hung out with Josh down in like Indiana, holy cow, man, it was a different animal down there. I mean, just, you could tell there was a lot more wealth. Even in their poor area, felt more wealthier than like the Muskegon, Michigan, like it was just like, wow, bigger buildings, felt like more money, that's for sure. So it could be, those economics could change, like you don't feel it. But I think in general, it all kind of happens eventually. It's just a trickle down effect. What's up, Tom? I see you got something on here. Is it Tom? Is it Brazel? Joe, greetings from Breezy Point, Minnesota. Minnesota. You get some nasty winters over there, don't you? I watch a guy over there. What's his? Dirt Monkey. Don't know if you ever watched him. Stan Janek. He does plowing and stuff. It looks like their winters get kind of pretty gnarly over there. Ugh. Nice hat. You like the Milwaukee hat? I gotta find me a garage door hat. I was thinking about it. I was like, I need some garage door guys to send me some hats. I was like, that'd be pretty cool. I was thinking, I seen one guy, he had a Jobber, and I thought, well, I need a Jobber hat, because I use Jobber software. What do we got here? Elite Doors here. Man, you missed the live stream yesterday. You would have been fun to be there. Sup, Dave? Keep up the good work. By the way, the name's Vince. Is it Vince? Because you can put a name to the other than Elite. Elite. I'm working on it, man. I'm horrible. I'm really horrible. I'm one of those people. I'm horrible with names. Like if I see a face, I never forget a face. So if you're on America's Most Wanted, I'll find you. But it's good because repetition's good. Just like with Tony and Tanner, and there's Kevin, and there's Mr. Rich B, and it's good. I gotta make my list, a Rolodex, and I can have your guys' like information, and then I can have like a little cheat sheet. That's eventually gonna happen. It's gotta happen. But I'm glad you're here, like I said. And if you guys jump on here, you guys are in kind of service business, you can kind of talk about the economy. We can talk about anything. There's not really anything we can't talk about. We just try to keep it clean and appropriate, because we got kids around, you know what I'm saying? And otherwise, too, the moderators or myself will whack ya. But you can bring up anything. If you're doing business, got questions, it doesn't even have to be, it can be lawn care, it could be any kind of service in a sense. And by the way, while you guys jump in here too, before you leave or anything, just hit that like button. Just helps bring more people in for the live. It's just more fun that way. Because it's just amazing how everybody's got an opinion like a butthole, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Without the farts. Is it Screen Armor? What's up? How you doing? Holy cow, I don't think I've ever had somebody from Mexico. Dang. Is it still true down there in Mexico? Don't drink the water? That's what they always tell me. Don't drink the water. I don't know if it's just because of Americans or a bunch of babies or what. So that's cool. It's good to see you. Dave, he says, yep, cool. He says, Joe, what's Joe got? He says, everyone here is just figuring out that their home values have been way overvalued and getting hosed on the property taxes. Oh man, that is very true. I've I personally on my phone got a Zillow app, so it shows you any local homes in the area, right? And I cannot tell you, I probably get somewhere between, some days it's like probably 8 to 12 a day. Price cut. And I'm going, oh man, I bet the realtors are not loving this right now. If you're a real estate agent, because they make their commission, right? They want houses to be hyped up. And you know how it is. It's going to take forever for your property taxes probably to come back down. And if they do come down, they've jacked them up probably, whatever, a couple $100, $500, $800, depending on where you live, obviously. And they're going to bring it down, they'll bring them down like 20, 30, maybe $40. Whoopee the doo-dah, right? When you still are over, $500 in or whatever. So I agree with you, Joe. I seen this one house, I remember it being built, which I don't understand. Like, if anybody knows, because some of you guys deal with builders just like me, and I haven't come across a builder yet, a home builder anyways. But does anybody, I don't know if there's a real science, a real reason for it. I think I know the theory, but they're building these bathrooms with the rooms in a sense. Like it'll be a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. And I'm like, oh, like bathrooms are expensive. So I'm always like, I'm expecting to be like 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Or it'll be like 5-bedroom, 5 baths. And I'm just like, why so many bathrooms? I'm like, is that the new norm? Like everybody just wants to have their own. I mean, I think about it in a nutshell, it's kind of easy with kids and stuff, but I just go, man, bathrooms are expensive. Even to maintain them, you get a flood, you get water in them, the sinks and everything. I'm always like, is that normal? Like, that just doesn't seem right. Sure, do I want it? Hell yeah. You can't ever have enough bathrooms, right? But the prices and stuff, they need to start making more affordable homes, is in my opinion. They can't be doing these in Michigan anyways. The 300, 400, 500, $600,000 homes are just not flying. People are looking for around 150, 200,000 in this neck of the woods. And I don't hear anybody ever talk about it. I better stop yakking on that. Oh, Screen Armor says, what's your job? My job is kind of semi-retired, but I garage doors, gates, side gates, fencing, business owner, entrepreneur, you name it. I wear many different hats. Joe says, I'm moving to the UP. This is where it still feels like America. Ooh, I like that. I like that, man. The UP is really nice. You'll be up there. You can call us. I'll be a troll. You'll be a Youper. They always get the cool name up there. They get the Youper. You're a Youper up there. Up here, we're the trolls. But no, the UP is definitely really nice. I don't know how the winters are. I remember when I was up in the UP, I used to go up there with my ex a lot. Our parents had property up there, so and her dad, or her not her dad, but her grandpa helped build the Sulaks, and so we had like access to VFWs and stuff. They were handed down over the years or whatever. But anyways, I remember I finally just wanted to go for a walk one day, so I go for a walk down this country road, dirt road, and they got these sticks. They look like trees almost. They're along the road, but the limbs are all gone. It's just like a stick, but it's a tree. It's a skinny tree though. And I'm like, what's up with all these trees along the road? And I'm like, they're dead. So finally I'm walking. It's like I'm looking around, kind of out in the field area. Finally, I'm like, I'm gonna pull on one of these things. Like, are these alive? What are these things? I've never seen these before. I pulled them out, and it was dead, right? So I just kind of chucked it off into the ditch. I was like, this is stupid. I'm thinking, honestly, a kid's playing a game with me. Like, I'm getting set up for a trap. Like, I keep walking down this road. I'm going to get whipped with sticks or something, or somebody's going to come out of a house and kidnap me. I don't know. I go back to the house there, whatever. I was talking to her dad, and he's like, so what's up with these sticks? And he goes, that's for the plow guys, so they know where the roads are. I said, what? I said, these sticks are like 10, 12 feet tall. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, the snow gets really deep up here. I'm like, how deep? He's like, I don't remember how deep, but it gets deep. A lot deeper than down here in the troll area. So I was like, it was even funny because I see mailboxes. A lot of them are on teeters with ropes. That's so the plow guys don't rip them off, so they can pull it down and it'll teeter down. They can put the mail in it, the mail lady, and it teeters back up. Craziest stuff. The crows up there don't sound like normal crows down here. Done some hunting stuff, but cool area. I definitely agree with you. Move up there. I remodel home. He says, I hate anything made after 1974. Ooh, remodel home. Joe, you should elaborate a little more on that. 1974. What's the I'm definitely not an expert in that. I kind of look at it and I kind of go, well, I look at it though, like some of those old homes might have like the cast. You know what I mean? And I'm a PVC guy, but maybe you can steer me different. Give me your opinion on it. I'd love to hear it. They won't. Yeah, Joe says they won't correct the tax. Yeah, isn't that about the truth? That's what I'm kind of feeling. It's like, unless you go down there and raise holy hell, they don't raise the taxes. Joe, not in Minnesota, anyways. Oh, Tanner's in the house. I seen him popped in. What do we got? Leets got here. He says they'd be nice if 5 people had to go, number 2, all at the same time. I know, it's just crazy. I just didn't know if anybody out there talked to a builder and they're like, this is what's selling, or this is the reason. What's the theory? I mean, my theory is obviously it's easier. One bedroom, a bathroom attached. It's weird when you start having kids. You realize that how nice it is for them to kind of have their own bedroom, because then it turns in, because what they do is they play these games, which is, well, that's not my mess. When you go, these walls here, this is your room. This is your room. And so then I could see that kind of happen, like with the bathroom. Your bathroom's disgusting. Get in there and clean it. Well, that's nope. But you know how it is. You just deal with it. I came from a house, 3 bedroom, 1 bath. We all lived, he says on that, oh, that's pretty cool. Have you ever thought about investing your money? Absolutely. I think a lot of people should invest their money. I think it's way better. I think you should do honestly, personally, real estate. I really think that's long-term generational wealth for your family. I think you should do the real estate, or not the real estate, but the investing on, some of the stock market, not all, portion. But yes, investing, absolutely. Investing, especially when you're young. When you're young, it's so much easier, because you have the compound, right? Isn't that what Albert Einstein said? The 8th wonder of the world is compound interest rate. I might have said it wrong. I don't know. Pretty cool. He says, Tanner says, yeah, it's crazy how I go 30 minutes and be in Minnesota, and how awesome the rural Minnesota area are. But you get to the city, Minneapolis, it's a shithole. Yeah, that's pretty. I know the feeling though. We kind of got some nice areas here in the old Michiganders, and then you get the Heights, you get Detroit. Man, they're rough. That's why I was just asking somebody, where are they at? I think in Indiana, maybe Tony. I thought Gary, Indiana's pretty rough. I don't know if I've been through Gary, Indiana, but I'm always asking people. It's like one of the things where they live. I'm like, do you got boarded up houses? They're like, what? I'm like, do you got like houses with boards on the windows? They're like, well, and some people like don't even like answer me, or they just kind of like dodge it. And I'm like, no. Like I want to know, like, I want to live where there's no boarded up houses, none in the whole state. In a show. I know that's probably that's maybe not realistic, because every it seems like most every place has their kind of the rough area, the good area, every state. Who to go? I grew up. Oh, what do you got here? Tanner. Joe says 100% Tanner. He says I grew up in Elk River. He says I'm from Iowa, Great Lakes area. People who know where that is, the city, is what's wrong with Minnesota. Beautiful state, but wrong people calling the shots. Yeah, that seems like a lot of that's happening lately. I mean, I can't believe some of the stuff that's going on, honestly. It's amazing how these people even ever got in power. Ooh, yes. It's got real estate, gold, silver. I like it. God's money, basically, right? The real money, not the fake stuff. We might as well just have plastic coins, honestly. We really should. They should just start giving us plastic coins. I mean, what is it? The silver, right? A dime, whatever, is not silver anymore. It's made out of, these foreign things. What is a copper penny? Is not copper anymore. Garage door biz is always in demand. I have that. You pros, he says, I've seen the power of the spring. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody on here has gone through. Did anybody go through the 06? It was really weird, because I started the business in May of 06. And, I mean, you could just, it was like fairy dust. You could say whatever, man. And these people just come running. I mean, I just remember how, like, they were like, you do garage doors? I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, we could probably do it, like, next week. And they're like, oh, my gosh. Like, my other garage door person says, it's going to maybe 3 to 6 weeks, When can you do it? And then, like I said, when the 07, about 08, it just puked out. And it seemed like it went for about 5 years. Yeah, we'd still get some residential here and there, but not like we were getting them before. You get, like, bare minimum. Broken spring on a medium size or medium class home, middle class home, higher end homes, but then it was like after the 5 years, you started seeing it trickle in. Like, people are coming outside and like, it's okay to come out. Is it okay? They're talking, the economy's getting a little better. And I remember we go to these houses and it was like, holy cow, like I need to replace my garage door. And it was like, well, you need to replace your garage door like 5 or 8 or 10 years ago. Holy cow, this thing's in really bad shape. Yeah, well, I just been parking outside. So that's why sometimes I'm always like, the garage doors can take a hit a little more than like your roof can, right? People are going to spend the money on the roof before they're going to spend money on their garage door. They'll park outside, especially when a car they got a payment on, they don't even know if they're going to keep. It's going to get repossessed possibly. So it's just stuff to think about. Garage door, what you got here? Says they will forever be worth something. It's true. That's true. That's why I'm always trying to like coach some people into. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, there's money to be made. You can whatever, polish shoes, I guess, pick up dog turds, mow grass, make the cash flow, right? But what are you gonna invest that money into that's gonna be there, especially if it's something you want to do for like your family or for your kids? That's the big thing I look at. And that stuff is always there. You know what I mean? The other stuff, you might eventually one day you might get injured. You might have to have a leg amputated. You might have diabetes. You might have whatever. And there's such a difference about being on the other side, where if you have that, you can call the contractors and you got the money still flowing, versus you have to always go out and do the work. Where's something? If you have any spare money lying around, you should definitely think about buying silver or gold, because it's cheap right now, which it is. As a $28 an ounce, but it will go up. It probably will. I'm assuming Screen, you listen to like Peter Schiff. You know, he thinks it's going to go even higher, $5,000 to $10,000. You know, but it's one of those things, like, you think about it. You know, you think about how much that holds. You know, it all happened. What was it, 1971, when it came off the gold standard? That's when things got all screwed up. Oh, by the way, if you're here, don't forget, hit that like button. Just helps bring more people in, and I appreciate it, because there will never be any more. 2010, 2012 was crazy. Iowa had this tax break for farmers, to build buildings. We were putting in 24 by 18 almost every day for a year or two straight. Wow. That's cool, Tanner. Thanks for sharing that. I didn't know. That's pretty interesting. That's really cool. Silver is 28 an ounce, and says what he's got. Not gold. He says not gold. Sorry, I was thinking like you're talking 2,800, because when I seen 28 an ounce, I thought, I don't know about gold. I think gold's sitting at like $2,200 or $2,400 an ounce or something like that. What is it, Screen? Let me know in the comments. Not gold, sorry. It says gold is worth so much more, like $2,000. Oh, right there, $2,000 an ounce. Yep. Very true. It says, I'm not the only one worried about data centers taking over power grids and plants. Is this happening anywhere? Ooh. I don't know if anybody here, it'd be interesting to know if anybody here got hit with that. Did anybody here get hit with the that cyber? I wasn't out doing any transactions for the couple days when that whole cyber thing was going on, where the banks were closed, because I've seen a couple things. I think my brother-in-law was one of them that said something about, like, you know, good thing you better hang on to your cash, keep some at home. It didn't affect me, but man, it's so hard. You know, I think that's a great question. Oh, Screen, you gotta go? Oh man, you're fun to talk to. Nice talking to you. Have a great day. Well, I hope you have a great day too. So, you know, I'm thinking about with Joe here, though. You know, it's how do I explain it? I've changed on it a little bit, right? Because this is how I think about it. This is really, like, very vague on it, so use this with a grain of salt. I think about where I live now, right? There, I got a little more light for us. I think about where I live now in the general area, and I go, I don't think we'll ever be snowed in to some extent. Do I think we might have a 4, 6, 24-hour orchestration of the roads are blocked and snowed in? Yeah, that could possibly happen. But is it going to be like, what was it, back in like the 1970s, where it was like for 2 or 3 or 4 days? No. Why is that? Well, my theory is, because I used to run a plow truck, I look at it and I go, technology's gotten so much better with the plow trucks. The equipment, the loaders have gotten tripled the size. The weather centers have gotten so much better. Everything has gotten so much better. There's so many more trucks than there was at these municipalities than there ever was before. I go, I don't think we'll ever get snowed in. I think we'll have days that are kind of bad, you know. But I think about it with kind of what I've seen with America. And it's amazing to me, right? Just like the power company. I don't know what the whole I think they obviously get subsidized with money and stuff. But my theory is that they must obviously want your electricity on, right? Because they want that meter running so they can charge you for electricity. Because I don't know about how your area is, but like when we get power outages, our power gets restored pretty darn fast. And I think the powers that be, in a certain degree, anarchy and chaos is they like a little bit, but the stuff they can kind of control, but not a lot, because all of a sudden the TVs turn off, which was it called television programming? I was reading something. They said that's why it's called television programming. And I was thinking the TV shut off, and all of a sudden people walk outside, right? And they're like, what the heck is going on, man? Like, what is going on? Like, man, I ain't got no power. This is bull crap. I got to get on the phone. I'm going to start calling. I'm going to start riding. I'm going to start, so I've almost kind of pushed that out of my head for a while, where I go, I don't think that stuff's going to happen. You know what I mean? I think they use it. They like to scare a little bit, right? Because fear sells, right? When the whole cough syndrome and stuff, right? That all stimulates, because everything, this is just my opinion, everything is about getting money out of your pockets, either in taxes, buy a house that costs more money. Now they can increase the taxes. The bank can charge more money on the house with interest rates, and it costs more. Oh, yeah, your grandparents, or you're not your parents, but your parents bought a house for $36,000. Well, now they're $300,000. Woohoo! You know what I mean? But I also believe the problem is that a lot of people, some people don't agree, is that the government got involved. Everything the government think about gets involved. Everything increases in price. College used to never be that expensive. Oh, but we now do government loans. College is like thinking, oh, well, we can charge more because we can guarantee it, right? Because that's the whole gimmick. We've all been through our whole life. We go in there, oh, you want this? Well, it's $30,000, $100,000 for this tuition or whatever. It's no big deal. You can make payments. It's only going to be $120 a month. And think about when you get that job, it's kind of like, reminds me of like the phone, not the phone, but it reminds me of the phone book guy, right? He always used to wear a leather jacket, kind of like a used car salesman. And I always tell him, I say the first day, I go, I'm not going to sign nothing. I'm not doing it. I'm just going to tell you up front, bud. I said, I'm not doing nothing the first day. I said, but you can give me the whole sales pitch and why I want to be on the front page and all these leads and stuff and all this is going to generate. And every time they always sitting there talking, kind of like the politicians, right? I'd sit there and I just go, this guy can't guarantee this. Well, get you on the front page. This gets. How do you know that this gets this many views and people look at this that many times? Well, we could change your phone number. We could monitor it. Blah blah. Okay, but when the phone book sits, because like my mom, her phone book used to be 3 years old and she still used it. They call that number, it's going to be disconnected. I don't know, all kinds of stuff. I can go on for hours for that stuff. Do it. He says, we'll weed out the weak, he says. Got generators and a lot of friends and customers with gardens and who buy meat. My uncle and a hunt fish. I could go, he says, to let them take over. Country boy will survive. Love it, Tanner. Joe's got Microsoft and Meta have taken over a few coal plants in the burbs of, I'm assuming metropolitans or something. Oh no, I was cutting out. I was talking. Somebody's listening. That's what I was cutting out. Hopefully we're back. We're good. But let me know, Tanner. Fear does sell, Joe says. So we should worry about what they don't talk about. 5G radiation, data centers, fast tracking, CDLs to newcomers. Yeah. You got a lot of good stuff, Joe. You do. You really do. Okay, we're good. We're good. Tony says. We're good. I can hear you. Good. No, I mean, I'm kind of weird, but like the whole 5G network for the cell phones has really been sucking, at least in my area. I can't stand 5G. I'm like, you might as well go back to 4G. This 5G is just, it's like, I watched a video on YouTube about why it failed. And I'm thinking, okay, well, it kind of failed, so fix it. just go back. And I'm thinking, like, I feel like they gave us too much. Now they're retracting where they're like, we can't give them this much. But the 5G, now we can either track them or we can do something now. We can turn their microwaves on. I don't know. Yeah, we got too many of the, what were they saying? Like, somebody was thinking that numbers might be like 10 million immigrants, you know, that came in. Pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy. But, you know, hey, for the politician, right, it works good because they get the votes. And then for the big businessmen, it works good for them because now they got cheap labor, right? Got to think big. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good for a lot of things. But I can tell you what, when I drive around a lot of utility companies, some of the landscapers of certain companies and stuff like that, what do you see? I don't see white chicken out there. You know, I see the immigrants. You know, I see the guys that are, you know, that are just putting their head down, trying to make some money, and they work hard. And it's kind of like, I can't say it's. I'm not saying it's good. I just I don't know. I don't know what to think of it, honestly. You got to get yourself a bus full of them. That's what you need, because then they can work for you. They're hard workers. I don't know much about them, honestly. I really don't. I've never had. I've worked around them in jobs and stuff like that. No problems. You know, I mean, everybody. You know, everybody's. You know how it is. Everybody can be. Some people can be good. Some people can be bad. Tony, what you got? But Joe, if you got something, like I said, throw it in there, man. All good stuff. All good stuff. This week, tomorrow's Monday. I'm interested to see what the old stock market does. If it kind of rebounds. I feel like the stock market a lot of times, like it's like the casino. It's just like it's like every time you go in there and you're just like, over here we're giving a new truck away. Get your raffle. Over here we got the dancing ladies. I just never can understand it. Where now it's like they'll Target had good earnings. The stock market's rallying today, and I'm like, okay, like over one stock, like not a combined. Like the economy's doing good, and I think I was listening to Scotty today, and he was saying how, you know, they want to say what's it been? The inflation's only like 3%, 3.7, whatever it is, right? But McDonald's is saying they got a 40% increase. I'm probably gonna believe McDonald's more than I do the government. You know what I mean? And I don't know for sure. I'm not an expert. I'm not the economic ninja here, let's say. But I think about it and I go, you know why I think in a nutshell they don't want to do that is because that's Social Security. Because you think about it, if they came out and said, boy, we're getting hit hard. We've got a 10, we got a 20, we got a 30% increase and everything. What are those people on Social Security going to do? They're all going to complain and be like, well, then we need an increase. This is bull crap. You only give us 1 or 2% a year right now. We need a jump. You know, it's on fixed incomes. Because I've worked for some people, you know, and I feel bad for them. I know how it is, you know, on the fixed income. It's tough, you know, it's heartbreaking almost, you know. It's like, you know, they'll tell you, well, I'm on a fixed income, I can't afford that, you know, and you're trying to do something. Once in a while, that's when I do my good deed. I you know, if I don't give to charities, it's like, well, here's my charity offer, and I'll do something for somebody for nothing, or I'll do it for peanuts, you know what I mean, just cover the material. And you know, especially like the old, got a soft spot for those old ladies, those widows, man. That's tough. When the husband left them with a house, that's you know, it needs stuff. Houses needs things. You know, houses are tough. Oh, Joe's guy, he says too many big shorts, or too many big shots just sold off. Huge shareholds. Yeah, I thought I heard something about Warren doing something just recently. Warren Buffett. So. You know, it's kind of weird. Like, the one part of me, I kind of want it because I think the houses are way overpriced. I feel sorry for this younger generation right now that's, you know, in their, you know, 18s and 20s and, you know, probably like 24. Because I just know in the family, my own family, extended family, there's a lot of people that are, they're hunkering down, and I don't blame them one bit. The stuff's expensive. I couldn't imagine right now going out and buying, you know, uh, gosh, I don't know, maybe 175, 200 to 300, $400,000 house on the peanuts that we're making nowadays, and to go out and try to eat, and then try to maintain a car, and then try to deal with all the crappy mechanics that are out there nowadays. Not all. Don't take that offensively. And I actually, right here today, I changed the oil on the truck today, and I had my my normal maintenance guy or mechanic work on it. Right, he's got a couple young kids there. It makes me a little nervous. The oil filter on this thing was so stinking tight. I had to get a big channel, the big blues, is what I call them, the big channel locks out, and crush that puppy just to get this thing to spin. I was like, this is ridiculous. You don't need to put it on that tight. So, it made me do that kind of like, I might just do a little bit more myself. I know even Cap, I'm one of the service fans, the oil change place that we do work for, was owned by another guy, gentleman, did good stuff. But now that they sold, it's basically they just count the peanuts, right? People come in and out. Well, guess what they did? They stripped the drain plug. So supposedly when he needs his next oil change, he's got to go in to their repair area shop, a little ways away, and they're gonna fix it there. I don't even know if I would trust them. I think I might take it to our local mechanic that we typically go to, and at least they're like family owned. They take pride. They'll make it right. Even when they did something on the truck here, the rear end was leaking a little bit. Got it back, it was leaking worse. And it was like, oh, it's like, why? Now, luckily, I was smart enough to keep oil in it, and I had to make a long travel. But I had to bring it back, and of course, I got it back on a Friday, drove it the weekend, and then I brought it back, said, hey, it's leaking worse. Come to find out, an aftermarket seal they didn't measure it or mic it. Wasn't the same. They had to get an OEM. Second time they got it right. But it was like, man, this guy could have just took this thing for a 2-mile test drive, and he would have got out of the truck and went, dang, man, I smell gear lube bad. Joe, what you got, Joe? Joe says, it is time to save. I'm free of debt. Ooh, good for you. But I drive a Honda CR-V with 300. Holy cow. Those things go a long time. My neighbors drive Range Rovers and lifted ones, 1-ton dualies. Holy cow, man. Yeah, it's there's definitely no doubt about being, because I've been there, and it's a weird. Everybody's situation is different, and it all depends on what you want to do. But there is, when you're in business, it's a different animal. So like, I'll give you guys some example for some people that either watch this video later, or some of the people that are here now. And you guys are always more than welcome to throw your information in, or what do you think? Because, hey, I don't know it all, but I know some. There's obviously good debt, and then there's bad debt. And sometimes, if you're in business and you got employees and stuff like that, there's a problem sometimes that if something would happen, and even myself as being business owners, things could happen, and you could get people that are going to sue you, all this other stuff. But the one thing when I have never came across through any entrepreneur is I've never heard anybody say, yep, I'm getting sued or whatever, and they're taking it away from the bank. So there's ways to disguise things, obviously within trusts and certain things, but um, I personally like the one a little bit, like about the debt, because with with debt there is leverage depending on what it is. Like I like the real estate debt because you can roll it over into another property. I like that it's tied up a little bit because, like I said, if somebody comes out and tries to sue you, go ahead. I've already been collecting the cash flow off it, and go ahead. Like go ahead and work with the bank because they got really, really deep pockets. But if I have everything paid off, I'm a target. Does that kind of make sense? I hope that kind of makes sense. Um, and so I remember when I threatened this guy one time, right? I told him he owed us $10,000. He was behind on paying us our money. He was going to go to jail. He was, sexually molested his daughter. He was going to prison for a while. I told him, I said I was upset. I was young. I didn't know. I told him, I said, I want you to go sign that truck off out there. I want you to sign that truck off to me. And he was like, huh. Kind of laughs, and he's like, the bank owns it. He's like, it won't do you no good. And I was like, dang. I was like, bummer. So, and the thing is, like, maybe you have something, you're going to have to put insurance on it. Obviously, if you have a loan on it, which is nice that you don't have to. But like some of like the service vehicles and stuff like that, for us in business, as we grew, the downtime was, you were paying these guys X amount of dollars, a lot of money, right? And the downtime was not good to have them down with a vehicle. And they sometimes will find nitty pick things, sometimes not. Like a defroster, that's kind of important up here in Michigan. You need defrost, in the wintertime. But it was nice when certain things would happen that you're kind of reassured that you're like, I'm basically paying rent, or I'm basically leasing the vehicle, and you get to drive a newer vehicle. But it's all a balancing act. It's not this way is the right way, this way is the wrong way. I always just look at it like sometimes I always talk about the vortex with business and being a contractor and being self-employed. And I try to warn people about the vortex because it's easy to, you're making money, the cash flow's coming in. Maybe it's the end of the year and you're thinking, oh, I got to burn some of this money. I don't want to pay all these taxes on it or whatever. This is obviously all legally. And, well, maybe you want to buy some garage doors instead of buying that truck or another service vehicle. Maybe you want to buy some garage doors that'll tie up some money. Maybe you need to you got a couple of fuel tanks or something. You need to put some fuel in them. That burns up some money. Maybe you want to pay down something to burn up, that money. Because once you get in, like, it's amazing right now for me. Sometimes it even blows my brain a little bit when you look at this stuff and I go, holy cow. What was it, maybe a couple years ago? The vehicles were insane in price, right? I mean, you could buy a vehicle and hang on to it for 6 months and sell it for another $1,000 more than what you bought it for, it seemed like. I mean, I think I had 3 vehicles roughly that I sold that had extra vehicles that I sold that, I probably put on, I don't know, 30, 50,000 miles on these vehicles. And I sold them and made a $2,000 to $3,000 profit on the vehicle. One of them was a truck, a plow truck that I had. And I seen that plow truck up for sale. I sold it to that guy for $5,000. I seen him selling it for 48. I think he had it all the way down to 42. He still didn't have no buyers. I don't know what he sold it. He probably sold it for 4. So, I mean, and when this guy bought this truck, I mean, it was one of those trucks. I just put it on the market. And like within 1 day or 2 days, I'm already got like 3, 4 offers. And they were like, I'll come right now and buy this thing. I mean, it was just insane to think about how goofy people get when they have stimulus money and they feel rich and the economy's just going. And I have a hard time even myself convincing myself that people are that naive. But I also have to tell myself that when the cough syndrome was going on, look at how many people are just so willing to put a diaper on their face. I wanted to see if they said that it could be coming out your butthole if people had to wear diapers, if people would revolt on that. I don't think they would. I bet you would see people walking around with adult diapers on. You know what I mean? And I, regardless, just didn't think it was the right move for them to make. I feel like they should treat us like adults. They should tell us what's going on, the risk, and people can make their own decision. But to shut down restaurants, that people need money. I mean, it's not like they're going to say, we got to shut you down. And guess what? We'll knock off your taxes for the time you're shut down for 3 months. Oh, heck no. I mean, who's the best landlord in the world? It's the government. I mean, think about it. They want you to have those houses. They get to tax. Oh, and then you need a new roof? That gets taxed. You need a new furnace? That gets taxed. Oh, that one needs new windows? That gets taxed. That's why taxes is the highest thing you'll ever pay in life. People just don't get it, though, because it's just a little money. And I remember when I read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and I remember reading the book, and it said taxes is the highest thing you'll ever pay in life. And I thought, this thing's full of crap. You don't know what the hell they're talking about. I just bought an $82,000 house. That was my first house I purchased. $82,000. I thought, you're so stupid. Taxes is the highest thing. Well, as I got older, I realized how much, little by little, those taxes, little by little, it's just like termites. You don't notice it right away, but man, they just keep chewing and chewing and chewing. And then next thing you know, you're like, holy cow, this adds up to a lot. I was looking for something. What's he got? What's Joe got? Too many shorts. Hughes. He says, it is time to save. Got that. 300,000. Makes sense. What else you got? Joe, he says, everything you describe is why I went too small. I got to a point where mentally I just wanted to build a basement bar for someone and not get 4 trucks and guys going in the morning. Oh man. I think honestly, Joe, I think we get along pretty well, because I always call it, I talk about it being neutered, how you get neutered in business, because, and I'm really thankful, and anybody else, you're more than welcome to throw, and we can talk about anything. But I'm really glad Joe's bringing some of this up, because sometimes I feel very alone in it, and I'm trying to be, because I know there's some of you out there that are like me, that you looked at people, sometimes it's younger, the same age, or the older people, because the older people, you understand, they've gone through it, and they've lived through life longer than you have. It's not that we always try to get little nuggets, right? It's not that they know everything and they know the path exactly that we have to take, but they can show us little nuggets that we kind of do, like the, aha, I never thought about that. And that's really the whole purpose of why I do the videos, because there's been many times, and I'm sure there's going to be many more in life, that I've had the aha, and I went, holy crap, and that's why I want, you people tuning in to be able to look at that and go, I think he's got a point, and maybe I'm not going to go, there's a Y in the road, and I'm going to go, you know what, maybe I'm not going to take a right, I'm going to take a left. Or I'm going to take a left, I'm not going to take a left, I'm going to take a right. Whatever. Or maybe I'm just going to blaze my own path straight through. I don't give a crap. Because in business, it's really tough. You know what I mean? When I first started out, it was, you make all this money. And it is. There is money to be made. There's no doubt. But once you start realizing all the paperwork and all the stress, and then what your biggest battles are is, if you find good employees, they're not a battle, but you go through a lot of bad ones to find the good ones. A lot of times what happens too with guys is sometimes they don't have age, so it's hard for people to respect them, right? I had that problem. I was hiring guys that I was in my 20s. I'm hiring guys that are 30, 40 years old, maybe even some were 50. They had twice or 3 times the amount of experience I did, and they did horrible work. And it was like, I thought you knew what you're doing. They did horrible work. And it was like, I must have obviously got the leftover scraps here, because you do not do good work. You're a burnout. You're doing stuff on the side here with all kinds of weird stuff, drugs. And it was not a good situation. And I think what finally told myself one time, well, I'm always an extreme. So it's kind of like when I talk about like, it's like, well, what's the big deal if I go 45 minutes or an hour, 15 minutes one way? I charge for it. I'm like, because there's liability. And then I try to use the example. I go, okay, I'm in Michigan. Somebody in California calls me and says, I got a broken spring. And I go, okay, and I say, I'll do it. It's going to be $1,200 or $2,000. I got to get on plane. I get halfway there. They call me. They say, I found somebody to do it for half the price. Go fly a kite. And I'm like, well, I already got my plane ticket. I already spent all this money. I invested it. That was stupid, And you go, well, that is stupid. Well, that's how I kind of think about, like, when I go, you're going an hour and 15, 2 hours, 3 hours away from your shop. I go, that's no good. And that's why I always talk about this, where some people think about business and they might be in a rural area. Not saying it could be bad. I know one guy that does it, but he has to travel a long ways and there's not a lot of other competition in there. So it kind of works for him. But you got to remember, you're traveling out, the roads, the conditions, the snow, the animals, the Amish riding their buggies on the side of the road, all these other things. That all takes time. Anywho, so I don't really know where I was going with that, but it's just, I call it the neuter. You start making this vortex, right? And it's almost like it's like one of those tops you spin. And I've been there where all of a sudden you're just spinning so fast, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to explode, and you start just dumping things at it, right? You start dumping more equipment and you hire more people you think's going to solve it. And that might not be the answer. That's sometimes it's my neighbor told me that one time, keep it small, keep it all. Not saying that's always the way, you know what I mean? You don't have to stay chucking a truck, but I would rather people go slow and feel the economics and the seasonalities of the business than to just go hog wild, start buying trucks, thinking, oh, I'm going to put somebody in here, I'm going to buy the tools. Because once they start stealing the tools from you, they leave the tools at the job site because they don't care. The truck's breaking down, because I was buying used vehicles. So I had a lot of trucks that were breaking down at one time. That's why I got the one video that's coming up. You'll have to stay tuned. Got the one video coming up. You'll see the one truck I was towing. Elite, he says, for a long time, the summer months was a slow time in the door business, and the winter months were booming. After COVID, business picked up and stayed steady year-round. That's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because it was weird. The other night, we were working late, me and the wife, doing that fence job. That video will come out here, too. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification. I don't know, I'm making a sales pitch here, sorry. But, anywho, we're coming back. It's, 10:30, and I'm like, well, what about this place? Nah, they close at 11. Darn. What about this place? No, they're closed. What about this place? I mean, we're going through a list. I told her, I said, man, it's all changed. I said, when we were young, I said, these places were all open till midnight. I said, 2 a.m. I was like, we had a few options, some really dingy bars that we really didn't want to. I think we settled for Arby's. They stayed open till, I think, midnight. But it's just crazy how it's changed. Like, it never reverted. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it just seemed like kind of nightlife kind of stinks, you know what I mean? And I thought, people at work, the long shifts, second, third shift, I do feel sorry for them. We used to have a place called, I think it was Rendezvous. There used to be a place open 24 hours in a pretty nice area. They had decent food. So it is. It's definitely, like I said, I was worried about this when the co and the vid was coming around, that things were, I always felt like the decline was going to happen, because I thought you're training the humans to go, well, I don't have to leave. I don't want to work. And I don't think it's gone away yet. You know what I mean? It's the I feel like the whole work ethic across the board has really been drugged down. I mean, I see it everywhere I go, from service to truck drivers to, you name it. It's like people just, they don't take no pride. It's like, this is the horrible of the horrible. A lot of some of the box stores, it's, they don't have the good work ethic. There's a few, but they're far and few. It's good. It's just now starting to get back to somewhat normal. But it's still either work is coming quicker than we can get it done, or not quick enough. Yeah. All the taxes, Tony says. Yeah, it's um, what I've noticed in the business for us is we typically spring normally has a like a kickoff, right? It takes a little bit. The builders start building stuff, so spring kind of kicks off. Everybody's kind of ready to start doing maybe some little fence projects or get something done commercial for us. It'll plateau out for a little bit, and then it almost hits like another little bump. You'll get, it seems like it's always happens right in the hot months. You know, like August and that, you'll get these like the fence jobs, and you're just like you're dying from the heat. Garage doors too, and then it'll normally kind of kick down a little bit, and then where I see it mostly is my trigger point. Oh, sweet! I see we got up 10 likes, so thank you guys. My trigger point is always Halloween. You guys, let me know what your trigger point is. My trigger point is Halloween. I tell myself when Halloween comes, you're the F word. It's like that's my trigger point. So when we get to Halloween, I go, we are screwed. And what do I mean by we're screwed? Most time in my head, I go, we need to get most jobs. I'd like to have most jobs somewhat wrapped up. Does it happen? No, it doesn't. I wish I could say it does. But most jobs need to start wrapping up around that time, because it seems like after Halloween, right? Halloween for us anyways, it could be raining, it could be a little snow, it could be a little warm out for the kids. It's that weird weather time. And you start getting, you know, the employees start getting sick. We start ramping up. Like, how do I say this? I don't want to say this meanly, right? Like, I like the holidays. I'm glad I love everybody gets to hang out with their family, and I love the holidays for that. But as a business owner, I hate the holidays as a business owner. Absolutely hate it. When I used to work for somebody, I loved it. I loved my days off and all that. But when you're a business owner, it sucks beyond belief, because normally you got shorter weeks. The days get skewed where you got to kind of figure out, like, are we going to take 2 days off, boss? Or are we going to take 1 day and you make us come back on a Friday? You got all that stuff to shuffle. Just as a pro tip, what I've kind of found out is find out whoever like your garage door vendor is, the bigger ones. Just kind of go with what their schedule. That seems to be the best. That's what I found. But it just, the sicknesses start happening. So a guy will fall off, or a girl. Somebody gets sick. It happens to us all. So you got the sickness. Somebody wants to take a little more extended vacation because they want to hang out with family. Extended holidays. You got hunting season. You got duck season. Things are just changing. You're not really prepared yet. You haven't got the winter tires on yet. You maybe haven't put stuff away. And the corporations start ramping up because they want to get stuff off the books. At least for us in the commercial world, they want to get the stuff off the books. We need to get this done before the end of the year so we can get rid of this money so we don't have to pay taxes on it. So it's like just go time, baby. And I also don't like that. Sometimes, like, I like to get our fences wrapped up by then because the weather is in between and it's hard. I normally try to specify that we don't work in the winter months. If we do, we're charging basically triple. But it's like winter. You know how it is. You know, when they say it's fall, it's already been fall, and when they say it's winter, well, it's already been winter. So that's kind of how ours go. And then it'll go slam full tilt up to almost like Christmas. You know, about Christmas week, it backs off because everybody's thinking about buying gifts for their wives and their kids and stuff. They're not spending nothing really. You're just doing kind of catch up for whatever. And then it's like the first of the year comes and it just kind of normally goes poof. Like everybody's hung over. Nobody has no money. They spend it all on Christmas. So like your residential and stuff. Normally my stuff, your commercial, like you got to do your preventative maintenance. You got some springs you got to change out. You know, that kind of stuff comes in. And then it's normally like, you know, you get like a forklift driver that hits a garage door, slid into it, the plow truck driver. And it all depends, right? If the roads stay in good condition, you're normally not too busy, it seems like. But if the weather conditions keep going up and down, it seems like it's busy, because really it's not busy. It's just that you can't move as fast. You know, your vehicle, you can't get to the places as fast. You got to shovel things out, the doorways, whatever it is. It just becomes a lot more work, you know. So that's pretty cool. Holy cow, you guys jumped in here. I just kept rambling on because like I thought there was only a few comments, but we got a few here. And good employees will always start their own thing after number two kid. Interesting. That's true. You know what I mean? Joe says Tony says, Joe, you do a non-compete. It's kind of silly because I always look at it now and I go, I would work my employer more any day now than I would, because when you work as a network, like basically like here at Affordable, there's days that are tough. I ain't gonna lie. I guarantee I know it, but for the most part, everybody's got it pretty easy. You know what I mean? It's not, everybody's got their own place, and so you just do a little piece, do a good job at your little bit, and it's kind of a whole network that works great. You know what I mean? But like when I was pretty much by myself, or had even just a second guy, holy cow, man. It was just go here, take care of this, vroom, 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 vroom. It was nuts. Elite says, I heard non-competes, he says, are not enforceable anymore. He says, not sure of the truth behind that. I think they are. That's not true. He says, my buddy got sued big. He lost. Yeah, I know. What was it? Somebody else just had a building inspector friend of mine. He has one, and I know he's got for like 3 years or something. Joe says, I don't do employees anymore. He says, I have customers that want to see me on site, and most let me bill without a bill. He says, I'm thankful for my simplicity. I can't agree. You know, I mean, I can agree with that. That's very, I get it, man. I get it. It's, you know, my secretary, one time I always remember, she asked me, you know, like we were getting product stuff. She goes, I don't understand why you need this. You know, like we needed the side locks, we need the bump stops, we need, maybe it was commercial when we were doing. And I was like, it's not me. I was like, it's the employees, or if I sub this thing out, or if I have a customer. Like, and I was just like, for God's sakes, I just need everything to be in the box. And I know it's all there. So when I send it out the door, I don't get these phone calls, because that's what it is. Phone call after phone call after phone call. Hey, they didn't send a slide lock. Okay, why don't you have one on your truck? Well, I used one yesterday. I never restocked my truck. Oh, I mean, it's that whole thing where typically you're going to get 50%, maybe 60, maybe 70, you know, normally not 80. You're going to get 50% of what you would do, you know, when you have an employee. Not saying nothing bad. It's just normal. But like when I had subs, the subs were great. Just they have their caveat, but they were great. You know what I mean? Like I remember, like I want to walk out by the road and just wave to them like a little kid. Bye, have a nice day. You know, I mean, I hope you packed a lunch. You know, like they just go and they just do their thing. They brought their own tools. I didn't care what they were doing with the truck. I didn't care if they're idling it all day because they want it to be nice and cold when they get it for air conditioning, or idling it all day because they want it nice and warm. I don't care. I don't care if they're slamming on the brakes. I don't care if they're doing burnouts, you know, because they don't got no stickers on their trucks. They're just subs. They're just subs. And that's why I always look like, I figure when I come work for Tony, when he hires me down in Florida for my winter months, I just want to be 100% commission. I don't want him to have to worry about me. I don't want to be no burden. I will make my own food, baby. You know what I mean? Like I look at that and I go, because I've been on both sides. So, you know what I mean? I'd rather just make my own bed. You know what I mean? And I'd rather somebody else make a little money because I know how it works, and it needs to be, I want that to be fair. I don't want them to have to, you know, nobody have to worry about me or babysit me or go, I need you to go out and do this. Man, we got to go. We got to go, because I've been there. I know how it is. You know, I need you, you know, you've been installing one door a day. I need 2 or 3 out of you. You know what I mean? Like you're expensive, you know. I'd rather just take that burden off. I got this. I'm not going to call you because my batteries are dead. I'm not going to call you because my trim nailer's not working. I'm not going to call you, you know, like I'm gonna call you and be like, the job went sweet, the customer's happy. Yeah, they're gonna send it. I got a good Google review, baby. What's up, Liftmaster guy? He says, hey everyone, hello, hope you're doing good. The company I used to work for sold out to DH Pace. I don't think I heard that one. He says they made everyone sign a non-compete, which I was already doing business for myself on the side at the point, so I left right before they sold out. Kevin's got federal trade ban non-competes, he says, in March of this year. Interesting. Maybe so. Kevin, that's exactly what I heard. Oh, nice. Says, what's up? Tony's got, what's up, Liftmaster guy? So it's kind of one of those things too. You got to remember, like, most people, what I've learned, we have a guy that's worked here, and that's why I'm always telling you, like, in general in life, you should just be honest. I had one guy that worked here, great salesman, basically thought he was going to take over the place, would have had a hell of a business, and he blew it because he was lying. He was a thief. He was stealing, and it was like, you know what? That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather have, that's why I call Cap, he's Captain America, because he's that guy that will go over a grenade and protect everybody else and take the explosion himself. And that's the kind of person you're looking for. And I had another guy, though, you know, when he was leaving, never had no problems. He wanted to go work somewhere else. It was just a totally different random place. I gave him $100. I said, here, man, hope you know, on your, you know, gave 2 weeks notice, the right things to do. You know what I mean? Stuff I can appreciate. The stuff that men should do. You know what I mean? Not, you know, taking openers and, you know, taking remotes or taking springs. No. And that's the problem that you run into a lot with employees. And so it doesn't even matter if you have the non-compete or whatever, right? They're thieves. You know what I mean? And that's tough because when you're in business, you know what I mean? It's tough. You know, when you're trying to put food on the table for your own family, and now you're trying to put food on the table for your extended family, which is your employees, you know, everybody else, you know, vendors, everything under the sun, try and provide good customer service. And you got somebody that's taking remotes, you know, $20 a pop, or opener for $200, scrap metal, you name it. It's really tough. It's really tough. You know what I mean? You just got to get rid of them, really, as soon as you find out, because it's just, once they're that way, they're that way. Exactly what I heard. What's up, Liftmaster guy? Tony says, not sure or where. I think I read it in an article or something. Not much, Tony. Business is a little slow at the moment. Excuse me. Kevin's got basically said they aren't enforceable. Sky, haven't seen you in a while. Cheers, everyone. Rocking it. Nice. I was just thinking about you the other day, actually, Sky. I was like, man, I haven't heard from you in a while. Working with the vendors, scheduling, and he says very good advice for any trade. I appreciate that, Joe, because like I said, I know how it is, and it's very tough. And then what I also wanted to mention in there was that when you're dealing with these vendors, you know, I had it too, right? I was I forget what era it was. It had to be around the 07, the 08. Liftmaster was the cat's meow, man. I had none. I hardly had any callbacks on Liftmaster openers. I mean, I just installed them. They were won and they were done. And I walked away, you know, and then things started changing with the circuit boards, and I started having photo eyes that were just like turning off, and the customer calling me, say, hey, the door won't close. And then we got down to that very last ATS Liftmaster. That was my mechanical limit. And I was like, sweet, baby. I'm still using this. I'm converting it. I'm putting 7-foot rails on it. I'm using it for my Amish customers because they have no power there. And Liftmaster's telling me, well, you can't use a generator. And I'm like, I'm laughing. I'm like, We northern boys. We live up in Michigan. Yeah, we northern boys. Like, we go out in the country. Like, we got places like electricity is not going to be there for like 2, 3, 6 months. I can't wait that long. I got to run it off a generator. I got to run it off an inverter. And they're like, you're not supposed to do that. Well, I got to do something. And I knew when I set that mechanical limit, I had some guys at the builders, something happened to them or whatever. It was like a year and a half. They come back and they were like, they'd call me up and they'd be like, hey, yeah, this is what happened. The guy didn't pay or this or that or something. We went on to something else, started working on the house, left the barn. Hey, man, is that opener still going to work? Like, can we plug it in and use it? I'm like, oh, hell. I'm like, it's fine. Mechanical limits, I have no doubt. If I set them and they're good to go, they're good to go, baby. But when these people call these electronic ones, these digital ones, the circuit board ones, I'm always like, God, geez, I mean, I'm really busy right now. I'm like super busy. Like, I don't know if let me just, God, I was going to go to the kids' soccer game tonight, but God, it'll be all right. I'll come out there. It'll probably be, is it going to be okay? It's going to be dark. Okay. Nobody's going to shoot me, right? Because it's probably going to be 8, 9 o'clock, maybe 10. I might have to bring a headlamp. I'll come out there and take a look at it. I'll bring, blah, blah, blah. Then you get out there. The damn building's locked up. And you're like, I told him I was going to be out here. And you call him. Now he's not answering the phone because he's on his yacht with his wife and his kids. Yeah. I love it. Oh, what's up? Working with the vendors, scheduling, yes. For any trade, trying to stay cool. How hot is it out there, Sky? I'm just curious. Hey, Sky, watch those videos of your wife's band. She rocks. Heck yeah, those are good videos too. Excuse me. Tony, I hear you. Liftmaster guy. Sky, thanks. He says she just joined a cover band too. Nice. I know a lot of you guys probably don't watch like Peter Shift, but I guess his wife is doing something, going to release something out in September. I didn't know his wife. He's an older guy too. I think he's 61 years old. I didn't realize, he's a economist, whatever. He used to be on Fox a lot, but I think they got rid of him. He spoke the truth too much, kind of like Glenn Beck and all that stuff. And but I didn't realize his wife did music. I think she's with, gosh, I can forget what band. One of the one singers, I can't remember. Pretty cool. Sky, so what band name you looking at? She has 3 different things going. Tony just got a call, boys. Gotta go. Can't get door open. Broken spray, Tony. Tony, you make sure you get pictures. Tell him you need pictures before you head out. Money, money, money. Cheers, Tony. Good luck, Tony. Make sure you keep your fingers. Send me some pictures, Tony, if you're still here, or you get on later. Send me some pictures of the job. Take pictures. Pictures. Cheers, everyone. I gotta get, he says. All right, Sky, we'll talk to you later. It's just around the corner. I shouldn't be gone too long. All right. It'll be a broken spring. DH Pace is like a heavyweight franchise. Okay, this is good. Nationwide. Okay. The branch that took over the deal for the company I worked for in Madison, Allegan, he says, is out of Atlanta, Georgia. Short like armor equipment or Versi or a miner, etc. Huh. Interesting. Joe says, I wish I had Amish customers. Well, Joe, did you say you're going? Or Joe, you the one that said you're going to UP? You might get some up there. I don't know if there's so many in the UP. There's some in the middle of the state. I don't know about the UP though. Can't say I've ever seen them up there. I'm sure they got a little town up there somewhere. So much I'd like to learn from them. He says they should offer a weekend Amish camp for us. Yeah, I agree. The Amish are great. They do some great stuff. I mean, they really are hard workers. When they worked next door, man, they were amazing. I mean, I just never seen, I was like, they put white boy to shame. You know what I mean? Just hard working. They had a whole pile of coolers there. They take like one, I don't even know what it was, maybe a 15, 20-minute lunch break. I mean, they'd sit there and just gobble their food down, drink, boom, and they were like watching ants. They all knew what their place was, and they just, I mean, they put up buildings just fast. Garage doors though, yeah, I think they should stay away from the garage doors. They got one guy new in the one circle that he did it. He did all right, but most of them, they put the springs on backwards. A lot of stuff. They didn't want to do openers because obviously it was electronics. Joe says, so much I'd like to learn. Yes, he says, Kevin's guy says, no, you don't. No, you don't, Joe. He says, Amish craftsmanship is myth. Watch Million Friedman, he says, a right to choose. He says they are up there. He says here in northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, and in the UP. Oh, might be headrights of, the Mennonites. Yeah, they, I didn't mind, it was a little difficult sometimes. I think what I learned though with the Amish is, one thing I learned with Amish that I was working for anyways, if they said it was a 2-track, it was like a freaking 2-track. I mean, it was almost like horse and buggy type of terrain. They had us do one that was a little ways, probably about 45, 50 minutes away from the shop, one way. I got so lost up there, and then the problem is that you can't call them because they don't, unless their driver's answers his phone, and he doesn't answer his phone the best either. Or the only way we could get home was at nighttime. They run a generator to keep their phone on, in its own separate little like phone booth, not inside the house. So you could get a hold maybe 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, sometimes 9. I don't know if we went to 9 too often, but it got to a point where, for us anyways, we kind of had to let them go. It just became such an inconvenience. Some of their stuff wasn't like they wouldn't fill in the headers right how he asked, and then every time you get to the job site, it was like such an unknown. I mean, when we got to one, we had a scissor lift ready to go. I asked him, I said, is there concrete inside? Yep. And we get there, and there's 2 on both doors, 2 heaping piles of dirt in the way. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, and that's like where the approach would be on the outside if they had concrete. And I'm like, how are we supposed to get our scissor lift in here? And so we had jobs that we were doing like off ladders. It just became kind of a nightmare. And then we started seeing like we kind of started increasing our prices. They didn't really like that price increase so much. It was becoming, you couldn't get pictures from them. That was another big thing. Pictures of what the job site looked like. Can you give us, they don't do that. So you're always going into a lot of unknown. That's where I kind of said, yeah, I said, we got so busy with other customers. I said, we kind of got to go, you know what I mean? Like they gotta find somebody else, Is it Joe's? He says, if you like Peter up, he says, would like Milton Friedman's work, best economic master ever. Einstein build their entire economic on his book. That's interesting. Is it Josie? He says, what is your average time to do a door overhead and replacement and opener or operator? Sorry. I almost kind of hate to say it because it's like, get this so you can see the light a little better on me. It's there's a lot of variables in that, and it's I've slowed down tremendously on what I believe and expect out of myself and employees. For some reason, when we used to run the business, we ran a little bit longer hours, I'd say. We were always trying to knock out like 3 doors. You know what I mean? One might be a couple 9x7s and one's like a 16x7. we were always hitting like 3 doors, not really maybe like a reconnect, no openers involved with that. And those are pretty long days. The van gets plugged up pretty good. Guys will clean the vehicle out the next morning, you know, because it's just such a mess. Nobody wants to deal with it. They're tired, they're burned out. And I honestly believe, now unfortunately typically we don't get paid that way, especially if you got employees and stuff like that. But really it's a door and an opener is kind of the day, right? And the reason I say that is because if you figure, which this is stuff I never figured out, and I didn't do that, you know, but if you figure out there's probably, you know, a 15-20 minute break in there that you should take, you're going to probably take, you know, it's hard, especially if you go out to eat fast food, you know, for, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be a 30-45 minute break lunch, you know, I mean, lunch break. By the time you're done with lunch, you know, you're a little bit slower. You're a little bit, especially the heat's getting on you or the cold, depending on what the weather is. You know, and you got maybe another break in there or something like that. But if you honestly take those, what I'm getting at is that, you know, by the time you load up your truck, by the time you get there and you get everything unloaded and stuff and ready to go, and by the time you clean up the mess, it's really a full day when you think about it. And that's what you, honestly, I wish the market was better where you wouldn't have to, because I know some of you guys are like, well, I install 2 doors a day, I install 3 doors minimum. And that's awesome. I was totally right there with you. And then there becomes a point when you start getting age on your body and stuff like that, and you go, you know, my health is more important than the speed. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather do good quality work than fast, quick work. And you rather enjoy and be able to smell the roses while you're there a little bit, and maybe say hi to the customer and pet their dog, instead of being like, you know, gotta pay, gotta go, thanks, run, you know what I mean? And then maybe you miss something, you didn't run the door enough times. But anyways, my theory in my head always is like a 2 hour. Everything is 2 hours. So I know it doesn't take that long, but so like if you're doing an opener, it's roughly 2 hours. 2 hours takeout, 2 hours install. Doing a door, 2 hours takeout, 2 hours install. That's just how my mind works, because you know how it is. You get there, you don't know if there's stuff in the way, they got a car they got to move, you got to move your vehicle. And it's like, if you put a stopwatch on you, you know what I mean, and had that puppy ticking, you'd be sitting there amazed at how long that stuff takes, right? Like, it's like chasing the microwave. You ever program, you know, type in a microwave, 52 seconds or something, or a minute, and then you're like, I'll run out in the garage real quick and go get something to drink or whatever. And it's like, by the time you come back, it already dinged. You're like, holy cow, that was a minute? That was really fast. Well, that's how life is in a sense. We just don't pay attention or factor it in. But those jobs, there's a lot of time, you know, like it takes time to bring the tools in, you know, especially if you got a broken garage door and you got to walk around. So that's why I'm always just 2 hours. Yes, some things are 15, 20, 30 minutes, but most time it's just a 2 hour. Everything's 2 hours. So that's why, like, I look at it and I go, you going to do a door and an opener? I'm like, man, that's a full day. That's a full day, depending on where you're going to. You know, if it's right around the corner, like Tony's doing a job right around the corner, that's a breeze, baby. Because guess what? Now, if he forgets something too, boom, he go right back to his house or his shop, and he can grab the stuff, and boom, he's right back. But if you forget something, you get to the job, that adds up, man. I've been there. Forgot a strut, you know, forgot an operator bracket, forgot something, you know what I mean? Forgot the opener. Oh my gosh. You know, and if you don't have nobody there as a runner, right? And a runner costs extra money, or a secretary, or your wife, or whoever, you know what I mean? You got to interrupt what they're doing. So that's why, you know, realistically, you know, a door and an opener is a pretty full day. Honestly, I shouldn't use that. I was gonna say those Menards door I did, I wasn't pushing hard on those. You know what I mean? It was very slacked. But, you know, I mean, what do we got? 10, so 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I mean, what do we have? Roughly, now the travel, you got to imagine, I traveled a little far for that one. So that would have been about right. It was an hour traveling, basically. So, yeah, we were there 6 hours. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? When we started and everything. So, it was a 4 hours, 2 hours tear out, 2 hours install 9x7. You know what I mean? That just seems like that's kind of the average what I come across. Now, there's that service spring thing. And if you look at that stuff starts making sense when you look at that formula. And this is a one-man job, and you look at how many panels it is and how long. When I first seen that, that's what changed my mindset. When I looked at that formula, and I was like, and then they said, but this is factored in, you know, like unloading the truck, going to the job site, getting your tools out, clean up. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, my light bulb in my head went off. I was like, man, I never thought about it that way. Like, I always looked at jobs when I was bidding jobs and everything else too. I would look at it and be like, oh, it's just a couple hours. So, I mean, we're what, you know, 60 bucks, 120 bucks. Let's say like 200 bucks. Yeah, 200 bucks. 200 bucks, we can install their door. You know what I mean? When I should have probably been more like 300-400 bucks back in the day. And so you can lose a lot with time. Time is your worst, you know, time is your enemy, man. You know, time is coming for us all. I mean, we're going to be in the graveyard in no time. Tanner says my wife is the best. That I tell her, or yeah, I'll get that done in an hour. She says like, okay, see you in 3 hours. Yeah, my wife's the same way. She knows. I think we I don't know if it's like, at least my mind was always like, when I get there, it's not a matter. My brain always used to be like, when I get there, I'd be like, I would sit there in my head and put it together. When I was doing doors, I'd be like, okay, I get there. Yeah, the job site's a new job site, it's clean. Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have that thing like knocked out in like 3 hours. And the problem is, so it's like, I wasn't sitting there going, oh crap, I gotta drive there. And oh my gosh, I gotta go through, there's only one way to go. I gotta go through the city, the downtown area, and oh, the traffic. And oh, there might be construction, and oh, I might have to stop and get gas. And normally I stop and get breakfast. I don't even, you know what I mean? Well, hell, that's 30, 45 minutes to an hour right there, just added up. Shoot, okay, so then, you know, and that's the thing, is what I think can be really manipulating with us as a contractors, is that we there's so much time that we don't get paid for, that we don't ever realize. And that's why it's really tough with like employees. They can look at a job, right, and they do the work for the company or whatever, and they look at it and they go, oh man, they just look at what this invoice is or whatever. They just made $400. I know what this cost, or $1,200. Man, okay, you're right, but you're not factoring in all the drive time, all the time we're paying for your lunch, you know, all the times of the days that we don't have work, that are slow days. Like the whole day is a slow day. You're cleaning out the truck, you're cleaning out the shop, you had one service call, the economy tanked out, whatever. You're not factoring in that. That's where people get confused, where, you know, people are always looking at instant gratification, right? That's why McDonald's does so good, right? It's like instant gratification, instant food. I want a Happy Meal and I want it now, you know. Something like that. I'm done an hour, usually never work out that way again. It says, with you on there, Dave, he says, always plan for something going south. He says, when you try over schedule, he says, for the day, never fails. Every job will have issues. That's it. It's a very hard balance when it comes to being a contractor. Very, very hard to balance that stuff out. It's a very, he says, damn, this garage is hot. Oh, that's funny. It's too bad you can't send pictures, Tony. Oh, it'd be so cool on a live stream. You'll see what you're working on. Well, let us know too what it is. A broken spring? I'm saying broken spring. Anybody can put else what they think. Broken cable. Cable off. Could be a cable off. Nighttime. Garbage night for some people. But I'm guessing a broken spring. Maybe not. Maybe they didn't catch it. Seems like in the morning they catch them when they're broken springs. So they heard it at night. They thought maybe a rake or something fell off the wall. In the morning time they get trapped. Can't get out. Can't go to work. But yes. So kind of back to what Kevin was saying. It's very difficult because it's hard to schedule. What I've always done a little bit is I try to get something planned. I'll normally call the customer ahead, and yo, love it. My Surewinder. Oh, here we go with the Surewinder. Broken spring. I feel like I called it out. winner chicken dinner. But what I always did is, like, you got something planned. I normally call the customer because I knew the technician was going to probably be done maybe around 1, 2 o'clock. I tried not to push anything around 3 because we normally cut out 4. But maybe like a broken spring or something, and I would tell the customer, like, I filter all that out. Are you going to be home today? Yes. And I'd be like, okay. And basically what happens if it went south, I'd tell him, say, hey, he couldn't make it today, but we already told you we're gonna plan on doing you first thing in the morning. You're first on the list. But I always use that as kind of like a filler, because sometimes they call you at noon and they're like, hey, I got this job all done. What's next? And you're like, oh, wow. Why don't you go do this broken spring? Come back to the shop, whatever, take a lunch, clean out your truck, make sure you're loaded up for springs, go head out to the job, things like that. You know what I mean? But it's super tough. That's why I kind of tell you guys sometimes, like, all of you, I think y'all should be doing, you should start looking at what I love about the real estate is that when I'm sleeping, when I'm working, when I'm up during the day, it's constantly making pennies. Some make pennies, some make dollars. It's a constant flow, and it's not that up and down so much volatility. It's more stable. Yes, you get problems here and there, but you have options. What was my light bulb moment? My light bulb moment was when I could have my wife call contractors to fix it. Tony's got pictures. I can't send them on here, Tony. The best is fixing track, right coil doors and storage units. Oh my gosh. He says, it is literally death. It's like being in a oven. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Went in dry, came out soaked. Tanner, I'm glad you brought up, man. Storage units are tough. Are super tough, man. Storage unit, those roll-up doors, oh, those springs, man. It's like my PTSD starts kicking in. I'm starting to shake because, man, I tell you what, you're totally right. Just soaking wet. It's so hot in those things. All I know is, man, the springs are a bear to get them. I see the spring, Tony, barely. They're a nightmare. I remember one time I was dying so bad. I should have had it feels like when it's a storage unit doors, it's always like a 2-man operation. You got to bring 2 guys. Little doors, even bring 2 guys, unless it's the little skinny ones. You can do those ones, but they're what are they, 9x7s? You need 2 people. And I was trying to roll that thing up. I was trying to use a ratchet strap to barrel it up, whatever, man, all by myself. I think I finally got so desperate. I seen a customer walking by, and I told him, I was like, can you please help me lift this door up? I get it like partially, and my hands were slipping. I couldn't get it to barrel up where I needed it to get the bolt into this new spring. Oh, man. Oh, never again, man. And of course, this was that job that we were doing that was about an hour and 20 minutes one way away from the shop. And I mean, I was just dying. Josie says he's had a broken spring job last night on a 16x8, full insulated door. Replaced a pair of 283 with 4-spring system. Dang. You should send me some pictures of that. If you need my number, let me know. I'd like to see that. That's pretty cool. Because 283 wire on a 16x8, like 283, I don't think I've ever carried 283. I've had 273. I can't think I've ever carried the 283. I feel like I've went up to 29 something. Is it 292 or 293? I can't remember. But 283 sounds, so I see why maybe you said you did a 4-spring system. Must be to get the IPPTs the way it needed to be. That'd been cool. Mount plates and everything. Double it up. What'd you use? Did you use like, I don't know what you'd use, 2 wire, or was it 218? 4 of them? It's pretty interesting. But so anyways, with the garage doors, like I said, everything takes longer. Everything takes longer than what you think it's going to be. And if you try, it's like if you try to push it in the universe that you're gonna get it done and do this and do that, it's like it's just blowback after blowback after blowback. It's like it just won't let you, you know. Same thing with employees I've had where it's like I've tried to load the trucks for them, and it's like they just get upset about it. And I'm like, I don't see what the big deal is, you know. Says, oh man, he says, I need to show you, Tanner says, show you my system. I can do a spring replacement on them. He said in 30 minutes, he says, or less, and don't have to coil the door back up. It's slick. Ooh. Oh, I even made custom winding bars for the doors. Interesting. Says our family has the largest storage facility in Spencer. I would guess over 500 doors last count. He says, yeah, he says, you know who grandma called. Yeah, you'll have to. See, the thing is for us, this one place, they didn't have I don't know what you call them, but like the cheater. They didn't have the cheaters on the side. They're just the plates. And so we'd always have to take off the bottom plate. We'd have to, because how did we do it? We always did both springs. We didn't play around that game. We had one guy that wanted to. No, I can't say we didn't. We had one guy, he always was a cheapskate. And so we do the one spring sometimes. You know how it is. You really should do two. But for some reason, it just seems like my experience, if I remember right, my memory's right. You know, on normal garage doors, you do both springs. These ones, we do one, and it was like we never went back for quite a long time. It was never very consistent where it was like, all right, guys, remember this door? You were just here, and I'd remember the crap inside, all the clutter. And I'd be like, yep, well, you know, that's why we do both springs at the same time. You should have had us do it. It was really weird like that. And I don't know, maybe it's just because he's done it for so many years with whoever used to do it, that they're off sync, and we were just always, I don't know. But anyways, we always do the one, and I remember it was like, how did we do it? I think we'd bring it down, we get the old spring off, get the new spring in, get the door to coil back up. Sometimes we did both. That's real heavy if it's both. And then you got to get that stupid bolt in there. Oh, it's a bear. I mean, it just makes you want to just, you know, cuss like a sailor. And they have to roll the door, you know, 3 times. Yeah, that's when we were doing both. But then some of them had that ratchet thing though, with like you're saying, like the winding. That was pretty slick, man. That worked out pretty nice. But yeah, Tanner, anytime you get to take a video or something or pictures, I know I take a silly smaller winding bar, which I don't think anybody sells. Seems like I had to get our own one milled from the local machine shop. He says, don't need the cheaters. Most are just plates. Okay. I have one to fix here soon. I'll try have someone take the video. Yeah, do that, because like I said, the only way I know is you got to take the bottom plate off. You got to spin it. You got to get stuff, drop it. You can unbolt everything. You got to put the new ones in, bolt them up to the plates inside. You got to pick it back up with 2 guys. That's how we do it. We sit there and, barehanded, whatever, with gloves on, wind it up. Then we strap it. And then we roll it. We get the pins in there or whatever, our bolts in. So everything's locked in, all our springs. We roll it around 3 times, revolutions, drop it on the 3rd one over, and then put the plate back on. It's definitely... Kevin says, yes, please share your trade secret. Like I said, if there's any easier way to do it, man, it's like hook me up, man. I'm all about it, because that's the best way. We used to struggle. I forgot how we used to do it. We used to do it even like it was a harder way. And those things are, and like I said, I don't know, Tanner, I guess one thing easy to kind of ask is, are you doing 9x7s? Are you doing them by yourself with however you're doing it, or are you doing it like you just like, nope, I do it all day? There's a bug. Are you doing it like all day, one man? You know what I mean? Because like the way we do it, you gotta have 2 people, especially 9x7. Got this little bug flying around. I'm gonna get it. Little moth. And then it's like if you go to the bigger ones, I screwed up with a guy down here. They were 9 by, gosh, I think they were 9 by 8s. And I tell you what, I've done 9 by 7s all day, and I'm so used to, like, you put the track on them, you tip them up, and you're like, got this. You know what I mean? It's like, it's super easy with 2 guys. We did the 9 by 8s. I did it. I did it with me. I think I brung the secretary out for that one. And I was like, it's easy. You just tip them up. And I can do all the screwing and stuff. We were short staff. Everybody's out working. Couldn't do it, man. It was like I lost you for a second there. Sorry about that. I reconnected. But anyways, we had to tip those things up. And I remember the customer said, hey, I think you underbid this. He said, I'm going to pay you a little bit. I mean, that was the first time I ever had anybody say, I'm going to pay you a little extra money. You know what I mean? I was just like, that was a cool customer. I like that dude. I think I'm on to something. I may need to patent this before I send out videos. Love it. It says, I think they are 10 by 8s. If they're 10 by 8s, are you still doing them one man? Or how you doing it? Is it using 2 guys? Like I said, take some kind of video. Tanner, you get it set up. Oh, dang it. I almost got that bug. You get it set up, Tanner. I'll come out and video you. Get it set up. A couple weeks, whatever you got. If it's that good, I'll videotape it. I want to see it. Gotta see it. Now I'm just itching. Gotta know. Says, I think they are 10 by 8s. He says we just put 2 in for the local amusement park. I think 9 by 7s and 9 by 8 is fast to install. Them new than to change broken springs. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I feel like I can install new ones faster than I can change the springs on them. You just slap them together on the floor, tip them up, zip, 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 a few screws, especially if the jams are built right. And you just, leave them wrapped up, whatever, give them a few wraps around, drop them down, put the bottom bar on, away you go. I think I got it down to one time. You know how it is, like when you're at a storage unit, you start getting faster. You figure out, I call it like the pecking order, find out who's doing what, And I think we were down to like, it felt like 15 minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes. We could knock, I think if they were 9 by 7s, I think. I know they weren't the taller ones. They weren't 9 by 8s. I'll never forget, anything 8 foot tall is a little bit different animal. At least for our vendor with the rails, you can't pick that thing up. We couldn't tip it up right. It was like you almost needed like that little genie lift I got to lift it up and then swing the legs out. It was just a little goofy. I just put 2 in. It says 2 guys to install new, but 1 guy to change springs out. Oh, heck yeah. There you go. Like I said, typically we get, unless it's the really skinny ones, I don't know what size those ones are, like, what was like 3 by 7s. That's the only time I would say like 1 guy all day. But the 9 by 7 stuff, it's just so much easier to have 2 hands on it, especially the way we do it anyways, with 2 springs and you drop it. The hardest part is when you try to lift it back up for us. You know what I mean? Like you got to grab the side of the curtain and lift it up. I mean, it's dead weight, and get it wrapped back up. I've seen them with the clickers. I was still doing it the old way. I didn't get enough experience with those. Those were just kind of first coming out. And I think you could get away with those, more or less. But like I said, Tanner, if you just got regular end plates, no winding bars or anything like that, that'd be interesting to see. If you guys got any more questions or anything you want to bring up before I head out, let me know. I'll stick on here a few more minutes. Obviously Monday, a work day. And guess who forgot to bring their sleeping pill? This guy. So I'm going to have to like hammer down twice on it, because for some reason I get in that rhythm. It could be all psychological for all I know. But I need my sleep. Don't you love it when you got kids? They just, like, everything gets somewhere. Just, Just all kinds of little goodies you find. 2 guys, he says. And then, like I was saying with, if I'm saying it right, is it Wales? Wales, if you get a chance, like I said, if you can send me an email or anything with that picture of those 4 springs, man. If you got a picture anyways, that'd be pretty cool. Let me see what Tony's got. He's sitting here blowing stuff. You can't believe it. Tony's got, he's got his Surewinder out. He had to show, I had to look at the picture real quick. Tony and his Surewinder. I still got yet to find out if the guys have used, if they've used the spring turner yet. I see it sitting there. I don't think they've done any like super big jobs. All done? It's because that Surewinder. That's why. Dude, you got that thing knocked out. How fast you do that, Tony? They only got timestamps on here. You all done. My goodness, man. What is it? My Surewinder just made me a quick $500. Nice. 4 283 wire springs on that 16x8 sounds a bit excessive. I was assuming, Tanner, that the 4 he dropped it down. I don't know if that's what he meant. Maybe, let me see here. Replaced a pair of 283 with a 4-spring system. I'm assuming he went with the lower. Like he didn't have the 283, so he put 4 springs on there. I don't know what size you would have done. You know what I mean? Like 218 wire or 225. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know for sure though. That's why I was like a little more details on that. Like send me some pictures or something. That'd be pretty cool. Nice. That's cool that Tony got that spring knocked out. I wonder if Tony, was it a new customer or a repeat, or do they know you? I'm just curious, just for the marketing world. Do you do 24-hour service? I don't know if Tony does 24-hour service. Says, oh yeah, I read it wrong. He says, okay, yeah, that wouldn't sense that door. I thought back of the garage. That's what I'm kind of thinking. All right, Miss Tony, make sure you shoot me a text. I want to know about that customer. If it was a repeat, just out of the blue customer. But like I said, I think I'm gonna head out, try to get some sleep since it's getting closer to 11 o'clock, and tomorrow's a new day. We got rain Tuesday coming. Then the humidity's supposed to cool off a little bit, which will be nice, or hopefully for some of you guys too, because the humidity's been strong, man. It's air conditioner's been working its hiney off. But all right, guys, I'm heading out. You guys all have a good night. Make sure you keep your fingers, make some money, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Take care. You guys can always email me or text me. See ya.